The Darkstream, Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and Infogalactic. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I have the feeling that we're going to get to demonstrate this principle in action. But it's been a few days since I've done a Darkstream, so I thought that tonight I would try to do so. And it was kind of fortuitous because I started getting into getting a bunch of folks complaining about Milo at me. Now, part of this was probably my fault in that Spencer had popped up and was attacking Milo. And so I simply pointed out that Milo, Mike Cernovich, and Jack Posobiec are all more legitimately right-wing than the fake right pan-racial socialism of Richard Spencer and his crowd. Well, yeah, and Robert Mercer disavowing Milo is very big. But the thing is that nothing happened to my neck. I'm wearing a turtleneck. It's cold. The thing is that for some reason, a lot of people seem to think that they have a right to try to pester you and demand your attention and all of this sort of thing. And they used to be like this on the blogger, or, on the blog. We still, every single day, we have to spam people. They come on and they try to hijack the microphone. They try to take out their frustrations on you. They try to get their message across and so forth. And so the idea that you have to put up with this crap, or that you should put up with this crap, is just ridiculous. And so, see this kind of stuff. They try to do their false narrative. You're so flustered. You're so upset. I mean, all of what that is designed to do is to try to prevent you from blocking them. See, they want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to be able to talk at you and hopefully try to get you to engage them. But it's a huge waste of time. It's not like I'm new to this. If you've ever tried to engage any of these people, and the funny thing is, if you actually do take the time to pin them down very carefully to make your point, then they will suddenly, it's just bants. I'm just bantering. I'm just having fun. It's absolute classic gamma behavior. And it's because that's who most of these people are. They are generally male. They are generally of low socio-sexual status. And so, of course, their behavior is going to fall into the classic gamma patterns. Don't block me, bro. But that's the thing. I finally just, tried to make my policy very clear. I don't follow these people. I have not expressed any interest whatsoever in their opinions. I am not interested in hearing what they have to say. If they want to follow my Twitter account, if they want to read my blog, that's fine. If they want to express their opinions of it, that's fine too. But I'm not interested. I have a lot of things to do. I mean, it's now nearly 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, something like that. I've been working. I've been on the phone with some folks in California. Been working on some stuff for Alt Hero. I just finished. Chuck Dixon and I just finished the edits on his first 2 comics. I finished the first draft of mine. Chuck went over it and recommended a couple modifications, which I then made. We're busy. We're working. I mean, it's kind of ironic where, some of you are saying, when do you ever sleep? And meanwhile, these guys are going, how come you won't waste an hour on Twitter debating me? Well, I don't want to debate you. It's ridiculous, And besides, these people are not looking for a genuine debate. They just want to, broadcast their opinions and so forth. So, I don't know why bother with what comments on the blog, on Twitter, here. I'm not sure which comments you mean. I like to engage with my readers. Because that posting and forgetting about it doesn't. I mean, if I was going to do that, I wouldn't allow comments at all. And on Twitter, because they fill up my notifications. I've got notifications I actually want to read. So if you go into my notifications and you are interfering with my ability to actually interact with people I want to interact with, I'm kicking you out of there. I mean, it's very simple. If you want to read my stuff, fine. But don't share your opinion with me. Don't put @Voxday into one of your tweets to try to bring it to my attention. I don't want it. So, I don't know who that is. I mean, the other thing that's funny is that people are often saying, "Oh, you're so upset about this. You're so angry at him and stuff." I don't even know who these people are. I don't have. I mean, let me put it this way: I may have written a 924 page book without an outline, but I do not have the capacity to keep track of every random who crosses my path on Twitter, on the blog, or here. If somebody wants to email me, my email is on the blog. If somebody wants to request being unblocked or something, that's fine. Go ahead and email me and say, "Hey, look, I'd like to be unblocked. I'm not going to waste your time." Fine, great, happy to. But when you have, I mean, I understand that it can be irritating for people, especially if you're following somebody who has kind of blown up recently. But the reality is that the more people you have following you, and the more things that you're involved with, the fewer interactions that you can reasonably have. It's just not possible. So, I think Ivan would probably be better as a senpai. He is more engaged in general. You're right. It is very important to avoid getting mired in social media. Social media is a very useful tool, but social media will not write your books for you. Social media will not write your comics for you. Social media will not get anything done. It's basically a marketing platform. And so, You know, I mean, there's a reason why I'm not on Facebook at all. You know, I can't even imagine. Twitter's bad enough. I can't even imagine what sort of time sink Facebook can be. You know, so, and also, in case you haven't figured it out, my ability to tolerate human interaction is limited. You know, I don't have the same stamina for this sort of engagement. You know, it's a good thing, it's a positive thing, but it's always you know, different people have different tolerances for it, and so you know, and it is true. I think that you know, probably some people do tend to confuse me a little bit with Mike, with Jack, with other people that are sort of more focused on social media. The e-celebrity thing. I'm not an e-celebrity. You know, I may have a moderate amount of social media following, and that's great, and that's useful. But I'm only there because it's useful. You know, if Twitter was not helping me achieve the sort of things that we're working towards, then I would not be on Twitter at all. I mean, you've seen me go off of Twitter. Even when I wasn't on Gab, I went off of Twitter for months. So, yes, I'm sort of notorious among my friends for, you know, basically suddenly being done. So, you know, I'll usually try to retreat to a library or something somewhere. I love smartphones so much because you always have a book with you, and you know, whenever you're done being social, then you can go and retreat. And so I'm very fortunate in that my wife's tolerance for social interaction is not much greater than mine, and so one of the funniest things she ever said was, it was kind of funny, is that at our old place, and we had gotten, you know, just, it was kind of in the spring, and we'd, you know, gotten like 2 invitations to, you know, dinner parties or something, and then I was opening up the mail, and it was an invitation to something else. My wife said, "We have to move. We have too many friends." And it was kind of funny because we did. But you know, so it, we may be getting chickens. I have a friend who is threatening to bring some by, and so we may be delving into that. Oh, I have no idea. Why would you ask me? Oh, in terms of these are ASL pieces. So these are the, as you can see, the German and SS infantry. So advanced, let's see if you can see that. Advanced squad leader counters. So these are the fishing tackle boxes that are very popular among ASL players for putting the counters in. So why do I not? Because our dogs are usually asleep by now. So anyhow, other news. Obviously, the Republicans are getting destroyed in Virginia. It's not really a surprise. Republicans went and pretty much ran establishment Republican, so not a lot of enthusiasm there. Plus, the fact that Virginia has become much more of a blue state thanks to immigration. So that's not a surprise. It doesn't mean anything for the 2018 elections as much as the media is going to try to blow it up. That's a good point. Trump lost Virginia, so you wouldn't expect them to win it. Yes, it's mostly Hispanics and Asians and the other immigrants that have come to Virginia, as well as the fact that because of the increasing power of Washington, they're bringing more and more people who worship the state and the distribution of money coming out of that. So, is there any nonviolent solution? Well, sure. Partition. There's basically two possibilities, which are Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia. Those are the two most likely avenues for the United States to follow. It would be wise if we went the Czechoslovakian route and essentially divided up the country in between the white heritage Americans and the everybody else plus the left-wing Americans. But that's not likely to happen. There's very, very few on either side who see it that way. Even those who are on the right are, they basically don't want to break up the country at all. They want the whole thing. And so, so that's, it's going to be difficult. I think they've got about 16 to 20 years left. And so, that's, and I wouldn't say it's break up or war. I think it's probably break up and war. And unfortunately, that's just the likely, outcome. But, all things must end. Every single, the United States of America is one of the oldest extant governments in the world. So of course it's overdue to collapse. It's overdue to end. We are at the end of that government life cycle. So it's not surprising. On that note, in case somebody already mentioned it, but I'm very pleased to say that we will be publishing There Will Be War, Volume 11. It is going to be the first one not edited by Jerry Pournelle, but we're going to maintain the created by Jerry Pournelle. And one of his sons, Commander Philip Pournelle, is going to be editing it with me. So that is something that I'm looking forward to working on. My thoughts on the Texas shooting are very simple. It, number one, proves that process is not prevention. The shooter should not have been able to get those weapons, and yet he did. So, more gun control will not serve any purpose. Number two, if you're going to church, bring a gun. And if you run a church, you damn well better be thinking about providing security. I understand a small church in the middle of nowhere probably isn't thinking about that sort of thing. The bigger churches that I've been to have had, members of the congregation who are, former Army Rangers and Marines and that sort of thing doing volunteer security. But, in the past, most of them were not armed. I think it's become increasingly obvious that between the threat of crazy Antifa types and Muslims, that it's going to be much more important for Christian churches to provide defense for their members. If you belong to a church, you should talk to your pastor and say, what's the deal? It's fine. I mean, Texas may have a law forbidding guns in churches. So what? Number one, ignore it. Number two, have people outside the church with guns providing security. You should have that anyhow. You don't want the people to get in there in the first place. One of the best things you could have is have somebody positioned across the street with a rifle in Overwatch. That's what you are. I would much rather have that than some guy just standing by the doorway who's just going to be the first target. There's plenty of guns in Italy. All kinds of people. I mean, I think Americans would be shocked at how many guns there are in Europe. So, yes, there's not as many, and it can be more difficult, but there are absolutely no shortage of guns in Europe. So, anyhow, well, that's all I've got for tonight, but thanks for tuning in, and we will have some interesting announcements in the next week or so, and so I will look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a good evening.